the warm buzz, the loose tongue, the room that starts to gently spin. You are definitely not the first human to feel it. Not by a long shot. Humans have been getting drunk for far, far longer than you'd ever guess. In fact, the story of our very first drink doesn't begin with a human at all. It begins millions of years before the first person ever walked the earth, with an ape, a forest floor, and a piece of rotting fruit. This is the true story of humanity's oldest love affair. Alcohol. Today, alcohol is everywhere. In celebrations, in religions, in nearly every culture on the planet. But where did it all begin? Who was the very first to get drunk? The answer is one of the most surprising in all of human history. And the wildest part is, the proof is written inside your own body. Right now, to find the first drink, we have to go way back, long before bars, before beer, before farms, before humans even existed. Here's the secret almost nobody thinks about. Alcohol is natural. Nobody had to invent it. Out in the wild, tiny yeasts feed on the sugar in ripe fruit, and as they do, they produce a waste product, ethanol. Alcohol. It happens all on its own. When a piece of fruit gets overripe and falls to the ground, it starts to ferment right there in the dirt, which means that for as long as there has been sweet fruit on this planet, there has been alcohol. And any creature hungry enough to eat that fruit could catch a little buzz. Now travel back millions of years to our distant primate ancestors living in the trees, surviving mostly on fruit. The riper the fruit, the more sugar it had, and the more calories, the better, when food was never guaranteed. But ripe fruit gives off a smell, the faint scent of alcohol. So the ancestors who were drawn to that smell had a real advantage. It led them straight to the ripest, most energy-rich food. Scientists call this the drunken monkey hypothesis. Our attraction to alcohol may have started as nothing more than a clever way to find the best meal. And then something incredible happened. Something we can still measure today. Around 10 million years ago, in the common ancestor we share with chimpanzees and gorillas, a single tiny genetic mutation appeared. It changed an enzyme called ADH4, the enzyme that breaks down alcohol in your body, and made it roughly 40 times more powerful. Suddenly, our ancestors could handle alcohol like never before. And the timing is no accident. This is right around when they began climbing down from the trees to feed on fallen, riper, more fermented fruit on the ground. Let that sink in. We evolved the ability to process alcohol millions of years before we were even human. In a very real way, we were built to drink. That exact same gene is working inside you right now. So when did a human first actually get drunk? The honest answer is probably completely by accident, and probably long before anyone ever made a drink. An early human, hungry, grabs a pile of overripe fallen fruit, eats far too much of it, and slowly starts to feel strange, warm, dizzy, happy. The world tilts a little, and just like that, with no recipe and no idea what was happening, our ancestor caught the first buzz. Animals still do this today. There's a tiny creature called the pen-tailed tree shrew that regularly drinks naturally fermented palm nectar and barely even seems affected. Nature has been serving drinks for a very, very long time. For most of our history, that's all alcohol was, a happy accident from fruit that had gone a little too far. But at some point, humans figured out the secret. They realized this strange, wonderful feeling could be created, on purpose. And once we cracked that code, there was no going back. Fast forward to around 13,000 years ago, and humans weren't just stumbling onto alcohol anymore. They were brewing it. In a place called Rakafet Cave, in what is now Israel, archaeologists found something astonishing. The residue of beer, brewed from wheat and barley, left inside stone mortars around 13,000 years ago. This is some of the oldest evidence of alcohol ever discovered. And here's the mind-bending part. It may have been made for ritual feasts, possibly to honor the dead. And it appears to come from a time before farming was fully established. In other words, people may have been brewing beer, before they were even reliably growing crops to eat. And that leads to one of the most fascinating ideas in all of archaeology. Some researchers have asked a wild question. What if the desire for beer was one of the reasons we started farming in the first place? Think about it. Growing grain is hard, back-breaking work. So why did humans give up the free, roaming life to do it? Maybe, just maybe, part of the answer is that we wanted a steady supply of something to ferment. It's a debated theory, but the idea alone is incredible, that beer may have helped build civilization itself. Beer wasn't the only ancient drink. In the village of Jiahu in China, scientists found chemical traces of a fermented beverage made from rice, honey, and fruit, dating back around 9,000 years. It's the oldest confirmed alcoholic drink we've ever identified. And not long after, in the country of Georgia, people were crushing grapes in clay jars around 8,000 years ago, making them the world's earliest known winemakers. All across the ancient world, in completely separate places, humans were independently discovering the very same thing. Fermentation felt good. And alcohol didn't just get people drunk, it helped hold early societies together. Shared drinking brought people around the fire, loosened tongues, sealed deals, and built trust between strangers. It became the centerpiece of feasts, ceremonies, and religions. In some times and places, weak alcohol was even safer to drink than dirty water. For better or worse, this strange gift of fermented fruit became woven into the fabric of almost every human culture on Earth. But from the very beginning, this gift came with a cost. The same buzz that brought joy and friendship also brought loss of control, foolish mistakes, conflict, and addiction. Humans have loved alcohol and struggled with it for as long as we've had it. That tension between the pleasure and the price is just as ancient as the drink itself. We never quite figured out how to have one without the other. So, when did humans first get drunk? Not 13,000 years ago, with the first beer. Try 10 million years ago. An ape, a piece of rotting fruit on the ground, and a tiny mutation that still lives inside your body today. Every single time you raise a glass, you're taking part in one of the oldest traditions on the entire planet. A habit older than cities, older than farming, older than humanity itself. We didn't invent getting drunk, we inherited it. So, cheers to that.